Do you know yourself well enough to pick the right sales role for you? I think this is an important enough topic that in my book, Selling Your Way In, I've dedicated an entire chapter to the topic. Why? Because I think that a lot of sales reps struggle or fail to earn the income that they could because they haven't picked the right sales job for them. Does this sound confusing? Sales is sales, right? Actually, no, sales is not sales. I happen to have a philosophy. I have 30 minutes for everyone. So people take me up on this. And why? Because they think I can help. What's the most common reason that someone reaches out to me? Well, normally because someone they know wants to get into sales, wants a new sales job, or just wants me to look over their resume. This is normally friends of friends or even children of friends. So what do I say? Sure, send them on over. I've got 30 minutes for everyone. And then, oh, by the way, well, what kind of sales job are they looking for? This is where I get that inquisitive look. Like, well, what do you mean? I go, oh, never mind. I'll just talk to them myself. So when I get them on the phone, I say to them, so tell me more about the sales role that you're looking for. And the people that I struggle to help say things like, oh, I just need an inside sales role. Or I like outside sales. Or I like selling software. And it's funny because people think that's very specific. I actually think that's very general. So what's the one thing that you can do to help you determine the right sales role for you that will give you pleasure, success, and allow you to own your own income? Well, that one thing is know yourself. Sounds weird, right? Like, Kristie, I know who I am. Well, but maybe you picked the wrong sales role, which would be an indication to me that maybe you don't know yourself as well as you think you do. So let me ask you some questions. What is it that you really love to do? Not just professionally, but personally as well. What are you really passionate about? What's your risk tolerance like? Are you somebody who constantly hears this from their friends and family? I can't believe you just did that. Or are you somebody who never hears that phrase come out of anyone's mouth? Do you like to be active and move around? Or are you more sedentary? Do you prefer to watch TV or listen quietly to music? These are some of the things you can start to ask yourself to help determine what type of sales role would be best for you. So let me give you some examples of things that you can be considering that'll help you determine perhaps the right sales role for you so you can be a top 10%er. Let's talk about inside roles versus outside roles. Do you do better on the phone? Or did you join the debate team when you were in high school? Did you love to be on stage? Did you love to be in front of an audience? Do you perform better when you're really kind of behind the eight ball and giving a presentation? I think a lot of people miss this one. And post-pandemic, there really aren't as many outside sales roles as there used to be. But there's still plenty for you if that's what you want. Here's some other things to think about. Do you want to be a hunter, a farmer, or a gatherer? Like, what am I talking about, right? Well, this is the way I describe it. Hunters are going out there to forage for the food. I usually use this analogy. Hunters are happy to get pregnant and give birth to the baby, but they really don't have any interest in all that stuff that comes after it. They don't want the 2 a.m. feedings. They don't want to change the diapers. They don't want to teach them to walk and ride a bicycle. They just like that first part of the process. Well, if that's you, if you love the hunt, if you love the kill, if you love bringing in a new customer, but then washing your hands of it, you definitely would not want to help onboard them or implement them or check on them, well, then you're probably a hunter. If you're a farmer, that means you are happy to take the baby over the minute it comes out, and you will take it home from the hospital, you will care for it, you will love it, you will be there for every single event. You love the relationship that you're building with that child, and you'll love the relationship that you get to build with your customers. You love that they pick up the phone and ask you how you're doing. You love knowing about their children and their vacations. You love celebrating their promotions with them. You really need that relationship piece. You get sad when a customer quits or gets promoted and you don't get to work with them anymore. You've just spent 2 years building this amazing relationship. It makes you sad. You're definitely a true farmer. What about the gatherer? That one seems like a different job. Well, guess what? Combo pack. So the gatherer goes out to forage, just like the hunter goes and gathers the berries or the firewood, but then they keep what they catch, as I call it. So they catch the fish, but they don't hand it over to the farmer to clean and fry. They do all that themselves. And so a lot of times you're building out what we call a book of business. You're maybe going into a territory to build that out, or you start a new job and they give you a book of business and they ask you to grow that book of business, but also bring in new customers all at the same time. This is definitely a job out there that exists for you. So think about that for just a minute. Are you a hunter, a farmer, or a gatherer? There are lots of other sales roles out there that we haven't even begun to talk about. Let's talk about retail jobs. There are plenty of retail sales jobs out there. All kinds of opportunities for those. You could work in a brick and mortar store. You could go into hospitality and work the front desk at a hotel. Or you could wait tables and serve food. These are all sales jobs, and they allow you to own your own income just a bit. So maybe that's a better opportunity for you. Not necessarily a true outside sales job, but the retail job definitely gives you an opportunity to interact with people in a face-to-face environment and show your personality off just a little bit. Here's one of the biggies that you really need to ask yourself. How do you want to be paid? Now, we talked earlier a little bit about risk profile, and so this kind of gets to the risk profile. Are you a risk taker? Again, remember, your friends and family might say to you, I can't believe you just did that. Or are you the person that never hears that come out of anyone's voice? Well, for the super high risk profile folks, 100% commission jobs are very attractive. Talk about hashtag owning your own income. No better way to ensure that you get full control over your income than by being a 100% commissioned rep. There are lots of opportunities for these out there. They sell lots of different products and services. So if that's you, perhaps that's the good fit for you. A lot of the sales reps I work with prefer maybe more of a hybrid approach. We call it base plus commission. So they like to have a set income that they can count on day in and day out, their base salary, but they definitely want to be paid commission when they sell a deal. That allows them to have some stability and own most of their own income, if you will. The opposite of that would be having an hourly or a base salary only job, where you know every single paycheck, down to the penny, what you're going to be earning. It's okay if you're a lower risk person, but you really have to understand yourself and how you feel about money and finances in order to, again, pick the right sales job for you. One of the other questions you need to think about is, do you want to sell B2B, or what we call business to business, or do you want to sell B2C, business to consumer or individual, or in some cases even B2B2C, business to business who then goes to the consumer? So do you like dealing with corporations? Perhaps that might involve procurement departments. That's not always that much fun. Or do you really want to make an individual person's life better? Maybe that business to consumer position is right for you. The B2B2C is a little more confusing, and we can talk about that at a different time. But again, I want you to understand how many different opportunities there are out there for you. How about if you're a little more technical in nature? There are plenty of roles in the software arena, SaaS as we call it, software as a service, where you can be the person that the sales rep brings in order to demonstrate the software. We call this a solution consultant or a sales engineer. These folks are super technical, but they have just enough sales savvy to be super critical to the sales process. I always say that I love it when the sales engineer comes in because they're like stealthily selling. Why is it that the prospect doesn't see them as a sales rep? Well, because they really see them as the subject matter expert, which they are. But a good solution consultant or sales engineer can really put the sales rep in a great position to close a deal. So maybe that's you. Maybe when the clock radio broke, I know, back in the day, you grabbed the screwdriver instead of the trash can. If that's you, maybe that's a good sales role for you. One of the last things I want you to consider is whether or not you want to be an IC, individual contributor, or maybe the leadership path is for you. Now, a lot of ICs end up later to be sales leaders, team leads, directors of sales, VPs of sales, directors of customer success. That's that farmer role, remember? And so you need to decide, do you think you're going to stay on the IC path? Or is the IC path a means to a sales leadership end? These are all things that you need to consider. I gave you a lot of different options today, and I know it may sound a little overwhelming, but sales really just isn't sales. And there are probably hundreds of different roles with a lot of different titles, by the way. I like to say that titles are cheap and business cards are cheaper, so call yourself whatever you want. But instead of looking for a specific title, really read job descriptions so you understand exactly what that job really entails. And then when you get into the interview process, make sure you're asking enough questions. Do you think that you're interviewing for a farmer role, but they start talking about bringing in new logos or new business or hunting or outbound prospecting? That is not a farmer role. That is absolutely a hunter role. So understand all of the different options in the areas that you think you can be the most successful in. And then either maybe it's a pivot within your own company, or maybe you need a whole new sales role at a different company. What I really want you to know today is you. I really want you to make sure that you understand yourself well enough so that you can put yourself in a position to be a top 10%er, or what I call a rock star sales rep. I want you to be the best you can be at whatever role that you choose, and no judgment about what you do decide to choose. I just want you to get up every day and be happy and be successful and hashtag own your own income. So I hope this has been super helpful and maybe insightful for you today in better understanding all of the sales opportunities that may be out there in the universe for you. So do me a favor, drop me a line in the comments below or reach out to me on LinkedIn and let me know, are you in the right sales role, or do you need to make a pivot based on things that we talked about today and roles that you didn't even know existed? Thanks so much. Until next time.